So the directors are getting up, giving chairs. Maybe we just need to grab some more chairs out of those. Let's do it. 2 minutes. Time.
Good evening, and thank you for attending the regular meeting of the Board of Education. I would like to remind you that school board meetings in Nebraska are meetings held in public, not public meetings. During the public comment section, the public may address the board on agenda items and other miscellaneous topics. The purpose and direction of the North Platte Public School District is to prepare all students to be productive, responsible citizens in a safe, caring, supportive learning environment. Our direction is to prepare every student for success through high-quality educational programs delivered by highly effective educators who use innovative research-based strategies in a safe, supportive environment in collaboration with family, businesses, and community members. Sheila, could I have you call roll, please?
Matthew Peterson.
Present.
Emily Garrick.
Present.
Joanne Lynn,
Present.
Cindy O'Connor.
Present.
Skip Altick.
Present.
Angela Blazey.
Present.
The Nebraska Open Meetings Act legislates the methods by which public meetings are conducted. Information pertaining to this act is posted in the boardroom. So first, we will approve, I entertain a motion to approve the publication of the March 11th, 2024 regular meeting of the Board of Education.
I move to approve the publication of the March 11th, 2024 regular meeting of the Board of Education.
Second.
Roll call.
Emily Garrick.
Aye.
Joanne Lynn,
Aye.
Cindy O'Connor.
Aye.
Skip Altick.
Aye.
Angela Blazey.
Aye.
Matthew Peterson.
Aye.
And that passes. So we will move on to approve the agenda for the March 11th, 2024 regular meeting of the Board of Education.
I move to approve the agenda for the March 11th, 2024 regular meeting of the Board of Agenda. Second. The Board of Education. All right. Can't read.
Roll call.
Joanne Lynn,
Aye.
Cindy O'Connor.
Aye.
Skip Altick.
Aye.
Angela Blazey.
Aye.
Matthew Peterson.
Aye.
Emily Garrick.
Aye.
And that passes. I would invite you to join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now on to our communications portion. And our first item is a special presentation. We have our February Bulldogs of the Month and Bulldogs of the Month. So I'll.
Good evening, everyone. It's an honor tonight to be with four students. We had a basketball game that was rescheduled here in the month of January, and so we're going to be recognizing both the January and February Bulldogs of the Month. We'll start off first with our January Bulldogs of the Month, and we have Mr. Jackson Polk and Miss Ellie Blakely. So we'll have Miss Blakely start.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ellie Blakely. I was the January Bulldog of the Month. Tonight I'm here with my parents and my grandma. A little bit about me. I've been involved in soccer, volleyball, and basketball throughout high school. I'm also part of National Honor Society and the Student Council, and I have received honor roll all 4 years of high school. My favorite experiences throughout high school have all come from extracurriculars, being able to spend times with my friends through sports and student council, and then also being able to meet new people has been really great. My plans for the future in the fall, I would like to attend UNL, and I'm hoping to major in mechanical engineering. That's all.
Good job. Good job going first.
Hi, I'm Jackson Polk. I'm here today with my mom and my dad and all my grandparents and my cousins, Rocco and Knox. I've participated in freshman football, varsity basketball, varsity track, and soon to be varsity baseball. I've been a member of the American Legion First Nationals baseball team, and last fall I was selected to play for the Nebraska Prospects baseball team in Omaha. I've been a member of NHS, Student Council, and the National Society of Leadership and Success. I've maintained a 4.0 GPA, and by the time I graduate in May, I will have completed 30 credit hours at Mid-Plains. I also earned NCPA academic all-state honors in basketball this season. My favorite experience from North Platte is probably just the relationships I've built with coaches and friends. My plans after graduation, I'll be playing baseball at Southeast Community College. I plan to get an Associate of Science, Health Sciences degree in their academic transfer program before moving on to a 4-year school and team where I will major in kinesiology or biology and pursue a career in anesthesiology.
So next we'll have our February Bulldogs of the Month. We'll start with Miss Hannaborg and we'll go on to Mr. Henry.
Hi, I'm Kylan Hanneborg. I'm here tonight with my mom, Jennifer, and my father, Scott. The last 3 years of high school, I have participated in volleyball, golf, soccer, and basketball. I earned academic all-state in golf this last year. I also am a member of Student Council and National Honor Society and been on the academic honor roll all years. My favorite high school experience, I've had a lot, I think, inside and outside of the classroom, but just this last year, I got to go to state golf and play in it, and that's probably been one of the coolest experience. That's something not a lot of people get to do, so that was definitely one of the best things I've done all high school. After college, after high school, I plan to go to college at Lincoln and study pre-law.
I am Jacob Henry. I'm here tonight with my mother Gladys, father Mike, and my brother Justin Henry. I have participated in tennis, dive, FFA, Skills USA, National Honor Society, and 4-H throughout my 3 years in high school. And honestly, the best experience I've had is I've been blessed to go to FFA National Convention twice and meet people from all around the country, from all different types of families. And after graduation, I'm planning on working abroad and exploring the world.
The little moms get it too. The moms and the grandmas. Yay. Guys, don't forget your boxes. In case you want to tuck it away. I don't either.
Next, we'll have our student spotlight, the Adams Middle School yearbook.
Welcome to go. Maybe we should announce our welcome to go. Thanks. We are Adams Middle School yearbook. Here he comes.
Right. We are Adams Middle School yearbook. Often when people ask us what we do, we simply just tell them we create the school yearbook. However, there's so much more to it.
First, there is a process. We start the year with determining our theme through the competition. We team up with other club members and determine what they think is important to this year's students' body. Included in this, they must provide a general idea of a cover design. This year, Kaden pitched the idea of music, which is extremely important in our student body. There isn't a moment where you don't see a student with their earbuds in, sharing a song with a friend, or asking teacher to play something during work/time. Here you can see our current proof of the cover design we had, where he and Miss Soutson worked together to refine. Using this theme as a group, we work in our program to determine what fonts, colors, and designs elements we want to use to make more cohesive book. Then this kicks us off with gathering photos, learning page design, obtaining page assignments, editing, and finally publishing. At the beginning of the year, we have to be out taking pictures. We practice using DSLR cameras and taking pictures using the rule of thirds. This is where the picture is split into thirds both vertically and horizontally, and the subject of the photo is placed on the right or left of the thirds. This helps lead to more compelling shots. Sometimes this isn't achievable right when we need to take a picture. As a result, we have to post-edit the photo by cropping. Now that we have a few photos to start, we begin learning about the page design. We try to keep our pages consistent with having a documented photo, the big or main picture, surrounded by clusters or smaller action shots. For our middle school yearbook, we use the group photos as our document. We are also learning that white space matters. While white space is simply the empty space on a page. Too little or too much can underwhelm or overwhelm our audience. This year, Ms. Hudson really tried to get us out of our comfort zones while writing captions. For our middle school yearbook, we try to describe what's happening and explain information that we can't see in hopes that as students look back on their year, it jogs up memories.
Currently, we are in the editing process of our yearbook. This simply where we go through each and every page looking for errors or where our design elements can improve. I say simply, but I'm learning. It can be a very tedious task, and attention to detail is very important. After the editing process, it's time we send the final draft to our publishers. As we wait for our books to arrive, we organize receipts and prepare to pass them out when they arrive. We will also discuss next year while the current year is fresh in our mind. Questions like how we can get more current 7th graders to join, how we will recruit current 6th graders, what did we really like about this year's yearbook, and what are some things we want to improve on or simply change up?
That was the process we used to create our yearbook. However, there's so much more that we learned. Needless to say, our meetings aren't usually quiet. Even if the group members have different assignments, we're constantly working side by side to ensure that every part of the yearbook will go together and be cohesive at the end. This involves a ton of communication by all members. We also have to make sure we communicate with Ms. Hudson if we are unable to be at meetings and how our pages are going. Do we need help? Do we need more pictures? Sometimes we even have to remind her there's an event coming up that we need to take pictures. Not only do we learn how to effectively communicate with Ms. Hudson and our groups and members, but often we have to get out of our comfort zone. We talk to each other. We talk to other students who may not be in our norm. For example, if we're needing a picture, help writing a caption, or determining what's going on, we simply name to face recognition. We also learn and practice taking charge when needed, especially when taking group photos or individual photos. And we need students to line up in a specific order or make a certain pose. Students who are in the yearbook the previous year need to help new members get started and guide them through the process. The ability to work independently, but also as a team is very important when creating a yearbook. Yes, we all have our individual assignments, but if one member is struggling, it's up to us to help each other. Sometimes it's as simple as I can't pick between these photos or this design is off, what should I do? Either we work together to create a cohesive yearbook.
Time management is probably one of the biggest things Ms. Hudson hits home at. Unlike other clubs, we have deadlines and due dates that need to be met. If we miss the only home cross-country meet, then we don't have pictures. Or even bigger problem would be if we don't meet our final deadline. That would mean we don't receive our books by the end of the school year, and we have a lot of anchor customers, and it can also ruin our sales for the next year. Because of this, many members work outside of club hours, whether that be taking photos, working on their pages, or helping other members. Yearbook isn't just for a season or for one day, it's for the whole school year and throughout the week. As you can see, Yearbook Club is a lot more than just creating the yearbook.
Thank you.
Could we have you introduce yourselves maybe before you go and sit down?
I'm Miss Hudson.
I'm Hope Otzel.
I'm Leah Wright. I'm Leila Castillo Santos.
I have other members. Do you want them to come?
Sure, absolutely.
They're all like, no, 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 I don't.
I'm McKenna Leslie. I'm Kira Olson. I'm Drew Jones. I'm Blake Lampson.
I'm Katie Bernal Hernandez.
So are there any questions or comments from the board? I know, I think I have a few questions. So now, Ms. Holton, you can't answer all the questions. We need to hear from the students too, so.
Yeah, you made our thinking easier.
Good thing, never mind.
So you talked a little bit about one of those lifelong skills that you learn is time management. What do you suppose the extra time, if you could put it in terms of hours that maybe you put in, just say in maybe a week or 2 weeks?
Well, for 1 week, we meet for an hour. We physically meet for an hour a week. There could be kids taking pictures. Most of the games are Tuesday, Thursdays. What do you guys say? You spend 2 weeks, 2 hours at each game?
Yeah.
So you're up to 5 hours there if they go Tuesday and Thursday. Plus, how much do you guys work outside on your pages?
Yeah, depends on what page.
How many out, like maybe 3 hours, an hour to 3 hours a week? Separate on pages.
Well, thank you for your commitment and dedication. How about a timeline? When do you start this in the fall? When does it have to go to the publisher in terms of the yearbook?
So I usually start meeting with kids the second or third week of school. So we start right away. Like that second week, we do our informational meeting and then start meeting. And then you guys remember what our deadline is?
Is it
March 22nd. So we are in crunch time right now.
And how many yearbooks will get published for Adams Middle School?
We sell around 100 a year.
Awesome. Thank you.
Are any of you planning to continue to do this next year? Or if you're going to high school, are you going to try to do the same thing at the high school?
Yes. Mostly yes.
Do you have interest in journalism as well, or mostly layout and design, or what are the kinds of things you're interested in?
I'm interested in the photography part.
Are there any other questions?
What's your guys' favorite part about being in yearbook? Taking
Yeah,
pictures.
meeting new friends.
New friends. I love seeing them get out of their comfort zone and out of their little cliques and talking to different people that they're not normally taking charge in that.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Okay, now we'll have Terry Birchall with the foundation report and staff spotlight.
My microphone's here. Good evening. Thank you for having the foundation present again this month. We are excited. Reach grants are completed for this school year and over $18,000 was giving out all across the district. We'll be recapping this week. We'll do one more little recap up at the high school and shows how students, we're going to get the student perspective on what they feel has helped them. The last month we were at McDonald in Miss Hyde's class doing some flexible seating. We were at Madison with Miss Volley to help her with her student section for TVs. And at Lincoln with Miss Pacheco and Miss Eckel for reading can be fun. She wanted some fun things to engage with the volunteers and the students. And that will be, there's some amazing things in there. I was excited about that. And then also Miss Sheets and the trip to the zoo with the EL students. And they actually get to put what they've been learning about, is it biomes, microbiomes, all that science stuff. And they get to go to the zoo and actually use their English and learn about science too. So it's been a fun time. There were 23 teachers that submitted and were awarded REACH grants, and it impacts every student in the district. So we're very excited about that investment. Coming up is the foundation's major fundraising weekend in July, so please mark your calendar. February the 26th will be Evening of Excellence. It will be a Speakeasy Dirty 30s theme because it is our 30 years of, we will be starting our 30 years of the foundation forming. So We're also going to be having a champion from the community, and this person or business, it might be a business organization or donor that has really stood out and helped help the foundation and the district through their giving. And I would like to announce our distinguished alumni this year that we will be recognizing at that event. Our first one is Tracy Trigo Dugan from the class of 1981. Tracy's an airline transport pilot flying jets along with being the vice president of flight and air cargo logistics at Trigo Dugan Aviation. Tracy's an ambitious entrepreneur. She and her husband Vince were both awarded Business CEO of the Year by the North Platte Chamber in 2022. She's appeared in Dancing with the Stars for the foundation. She served on the Great Plains Health Board of Directors and is very supportive of charities and organizations. The second one is Dr. William Bill Palmer, who will recognize, you're gonna have to help me with this one, Skip, posthumously, from the class of 1966. He actually was the first board certified rheumatologist in Omaha in 1978. He's an advocate and contributor to physician and student education in that area. In 2014, the American College of Rheumatology recognized him as a master, which is one of the highest honors in his field. And our third one is Ryan Mueller from the class of 2021. In 2022, he received the Gilder Lehrman Institute of American History Award for the state of Utah. He teaches at Mount Logan Middle School. When he was in North Platte, he attended Washington Elementary, where he was a Cub Scout. He did go on to earn his Eagle Scout. He has always exhibited characteristics of faith, honor, loyalty, integrity, and service. So those are our three distinguished alumni for this year. So we're excited about that. And on to the foundation's always excited to showcase some district employees. And this month was sponsored, of course, by Prairie Friends and Flowers and Tana Patera at Hub International. And we got to stay right here in the building for our first one. So that was kind of fun because Charles Hayes received that award. And Dr. Rhodes, would you like to talk?
Well, yeah, we have an outstanding technology department, and certainly Charles is a standout of that group. Puts in a lot of extra hours. You frequently see him at the regular board meetings and the committee of the whole. He is not Mr. Simpson's technology assistant, although Mr. Simpson believes that he is. And I think we said, Charles, usually it's a daily call that you get from Mr. Simpson.
Yep.
Yeah, but he's absolutely outstanding. And it was an honor to nominate Charles, and we're so happy that he was selected as Employee of the Month.
Charles, would you stand, please? Stay standing for a moment. Thank you. And then next, we went over to Buffalo Elementary. Lori, if you could please stand. Lori Keck was recognized. Of course, she maybe had to be called back to the building, and then she got bombarded by administration and everybody with flowers and all of that stuff. So, would you like to come forward?
So I'm very fortunate to get to work with Lori at Buffalo as her coordinator for early childhood. So she works with students ages 3 to 5, not just in the public school setting, but out in the community at daycares and private preschools as our speech language pathologist. So this is her first year in the district, and we are so lucky to have her because she does a phenomenal job working with our staff and our students. And the biggest thing besides her communication, which is phenomenal, is that she is such an advocate for kids, and she is, no matter where she's at and what setting, she is definitely the person that's going to be working for them, not anybody else. So she's very focused on that.
And then we'll do a photo with the board.
Yes, your turn.
Okay. Ready? You say bulldogs or something? 1, 2, 3. Oh my goodness. All right, thank you very much.
Now we will move on to the consent agenda. Our adopted rules of parliamentary procedure, Robert's rules, provide for a consent agenda listing several items for approval of the board by a single motion. Documentation concerning these items has been provided to all board members and the public in advance to assure an extensive and thorough review. Items may be removed from the consent agenda at the request of any board member. I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I would move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Roll call.
Cindy O'Connor,
Aye.
Skip Baltic,
Aye.
Angela Blazy,
Aye.
Matthew Peterson.
Aye.
Emily Garrick,
Aye.
Joanne Green.
Aye. And also I should point out, as part of that, we had the financial claims and reports, and I know Cindy, and I'm not sure who else was on that. Matt, this month, okay. And that.
Stuart wanted to
Okay.
be known that he did everything on his own this month. Thought that was impressive apparently. But it looked good.
Now we will move on to reports and discussion items, and the first item under that topic will be our report on the sixpence program.
I told her we should bring them. Always.
I am Megan Daly,
My name is Kelly Mathewson.
and we are the parent educators for Sixpence, which is a grant program housed in North Platte Public Schools. Our program is for early childhood. It's for parents who have kids age 0 to 3 or who are currently pregnant. Our target population is high school students, first-time parents, or parents at risk of removal, so their kids being removed from their care or custody. The main goals of our program are to empower parents to be their child's first teacher at home. A lot of parents think that teaching and learning starts when they start school at preschool or kindergarten age. And it's really our goal to teach them that they are their child's first teacher. We do that through a curriculum. We take activities to their home, and that the activities are always items that can be found in their home. We take new items sometimes just because it's nice to have new things, but we always find things around the house that could be used for the same activity. One of the big things that we tell parents is it doesn't cost money to teach your kids anything. You can use a paper towel tube, you can use the empty formula container. And these are things that we take into their house. We take them just in case they don't have them at the time that we're there to do the lesson, but teach them that in the future, when you have these items, this is what you can use them for. We also promote attachment and bonding. We got trained and certified as infant massage trainers, so we can teach parents how to do infant massage. A lot of that has physical benefits to it for circulation, muscle development, and growth. But the biggest thing that we learned in that training was that it's really about attachment and bonding. It's about making eye contact with your baby and reading their cues and knowing what they like and what they don't like, and when they're done, without them even having to talk to you or tell you. There's ways that you can tell. We also promote literacy. We do this by taking books to families. At least once a month, we take them a brand new board book, usually more often than that. And our goal is to help them build their library in their home so that they always have books to read to their children. We talk about if reading is uncomfortable or difficult, just looking at the pictures and talking about what's going on the pages is just as sufficient as actually reading the book to them. We host socializations every month, so we invite all of the families that we work with to come to one central location. We provide food and an activity. Sometimes, like the one that we have coming up this time, we're building travel activity bags, so activity bags to have in the car for kids to do in the car on road trips or to take into like a doctor's office when you're waiting in the waiting room forever. Things to keep them busy that are not toys that you had to buy anywhere, just things that you can find around the house to put together, but we're putting them together for them as their incentive for coming. We're also having a representative from Molina Healthcare, which is one of the Medicaid healthcare agencies, come and talk to the families about the benefits of being on Molina Healthcare. They have a ton of stuff that a lot of people don't know about. So just for being pregnant and attending your doctor's appointments, they give you $25 gift cards, but families don't know that. So we've invited her to come and share that information with them so that they know how they can benefit from their benefits. We have meetings with our families once a week. Typically, our minimum is 3 meetings a month. We try to have them in home because we want to teach them how to use their home as an educational environment. That's not always feasible. It's not always what's best for the family or necessarily us sometimes. So we also have a room at Buffalo that's set up like a classroom with lots of educational materials, tummy time mats, lots of space for kids to play, parents to be on the floor with their kids. And we try to make it as feasible for families as possible. We try to work around, well, we always work around their schedule. We meet where it's convenient for them. We've met at parks, we've met at the Children's Museum, we've met at Buffalo, we've met at people's homes, we've met at grandparents' homes, whatever works for them. We try to work around because that's how we keep people in our program. Each year we have assessments and surveys that we do with the families. We have UNMC as kind of the overarching, what's the word?
They oversee our program. So with
Yeah.
all of
And they do all of the like research and statistics data. They collect all of that for us. So every year we have surveys and assessments that we do with families. And then we recently just got our results back from last year. So Kelly's going to share some of the data that we got back from them.
So we had 19 families out of 22 complete these surveys. 42% of the families are single parent households. 84% report that they have mental health issues. 96% report that they are or were getting free and reduced lunch. 81% of the families that enrolled in Sixth Fence last year stayed in the program. 84% of the families report that they read to their children at least 3 times a week. 100% report that they have at least 10 children's books in their home. 100% report they have insurance for their child. 94% report that Sixth Fence taught them about their child's development. 94% of parents say that Sixth Fence has encouraged them to read to their child. 94% report that Sixth Fence staff has helped them get connected to community resources. And 100% said that Sixth Fence made them a better parent. With our great presentation, do you guys have any questions?
So is there a point that people graduate out, or is it they
Yeah.
age out, or
Yeah.
can they
Either-
graduate out early?
So they can stay in our program until they turn 4 or until they enroll in preschool. We try to work with families at least 18 months. So we try not to take anyone who's over 18 months old. There's always extenuating circumstances and we're really pretty flexible with that. The goal is to be in it as long as possible, just because learning and attachment and bonding and behaviors change as kids get older. And we want to continue to support parents as long as we can to make them feel confident and comfortable in what they're doing. So those are like when they age out because of they just aren't qualified for our program anymore. We do have people that leave the program because they've moved away, or sometimes it just doesn't work out. It's too much of a commitment for them. And so they decide that they don't want to continue. That doesn't happen very frequently though. We've been told by Sixth Fence overarching through Nebraska that we have a really great retention rate in North Platte. So that's good to know and rewarding. I think a lot of that is Kelly and I dedicate a lot of time to building relationships with our families, which is not always an easy thing to do. But over time and continuing to show up and continuing to be consistent and checking in on them and asking how we can help over time, I would say most of our families would say that they have a good relationship with us.
About how many families are you serving right now?
We can serve 24 kids. A couple of those are within the same family. So we have some sibling sets that we serve. I think right now we have 20 families, 24 kids.
And do they join your program based on a referral, or how do they find out about the services that you offer?
Yeah, some are self-referral. We do a lot of community events and share our information, these flyers that we gave to you guys. We attend Kids on the Bricks. We're gonna attend the
Plays
Baby-
the way.
what's the baby one?
And the Baby Fest.
Baby Fest at the hospital. We just try to get as connected as we can with the community so people know who we are and what we're doing. So we have had people refer themselves. We get a lot of referrals from the high school, from counselors. When they find out that students are pregnant, they always contact us and we make contact with the students. We also get lots of referrals from EDN. They get referrals and sometimes kids don't qualify for their program. So they'll say, well, Sixpence would still be great for you because we have a lot less qualifiers than what EDN has. We also share cases with EDN. So some families work with both EDN and Sixpence.
How many can you take at full capacity?
12 children each. We can
Okay.
go up to 15. They don't want us to, but if somebody is needing the assistance, Kelly and I would take them.
Do you have families that give you like pushback because they think you're coordinating with the state and those kind of things? Do families have concerns about having you in the home? I mean, and how do you alleviate that?
At times, so Sixpence is a voluntary program. So even if they are system involved and HHS refers them, they don't have to do our program. HHS can't tell them that they have to do our program. And we reiterate that to them because yes, sometimes if people are system involved and that's who referred them, it's kind of like an us versus them feeling that they have. But we just are always very clear. This is a voluntary program. We're here because you want us here. If you don't want us here, that's okay too.
And we told the caseworkers that as well.
Yeah.
Just to remind them.
Yes.
And do you follow up with families after they're out of the program, just to kind of see
Yeah.
success stories and how things are
Yep.
going?
And we've actually had families that have left our program for reason like time commitment reasons or things were just not going great in their life. And then they've reached back out to us. We've had 4 or 5 that have said, hey, can I get back in Sixpence? I'm in a better place now, or I really need help now. So we maintain good communication and contact with people, even if they're not in the program. Even ones that turn us down, we still reach out a little bit down the road and just say, hey, it's Megan from Sixpence. I just wanted to check in and see if anything had changed, if you are interested or how you're doing. A lot of times if they've had a baby since I met them last, I'll just check in and see how's it going since you've had your baby.
And this is all grant based, is that right?
Yes.
And do I remember, is this kind of a rolling over grant? Are we in this for a while? or
Yeah.
What's it look like? Okay.
Yeah, what they've told us is as long as we have kids, they're not going to take it away from us. They have only taken Sixpence out of a couple of towns. I think 2 is what she told us. And it was because they had gone 18 months without having any kids in their program. 6 months into us having Sixpence in North Platte, we were at 86% capacity and we've remained at almost 100 since then.
Well, thank you guys for what you do. It's a great program.
Yeah.
Do you think there's any need for the program to expand more
yeah.
than it is?
Absolutely.
And we've already asked for that. Unfortunately, there's not money for it right now, but we continue to bring that up. In our grant, there's always an unmet needs portion, and we always say that we need another parent educator at least, especially with how North Platte's going to expand. There's going to be several more families here that could benefit from our program.
Do you have any multicultural needs or families that you can't serve just because there's a language barrier or something like that?
No, we haven't yet. We have already discussed that being a possibility with the way that our community is growing and we have access to translation services that we can use if that comes up. But so far we haven't. We've had some Spanish speaking families, but at least one parent has spoke English also. So,
Well, thank you.
yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies.
thanks.
Thanks for having us.
Now, Dr. Rhodes will share some information on the board self-assessment.
So I've been communicating with Katie Corfield from NASB on the board self-assessment. Right now, the plan is she will email the board the online self-assessment sometime tomorrow. So you should be expecting that email to come to your nppsd.org email account. It will close on the 21st. So you have about 9 days to complete that self-assessment. And then, of course, they'll get all the results tabulated, and then those results will come back to the district. So again, be looking for that email sometime tomorrow. I believe that does come from Katie. But if you see the NASB come across a signature line or subject line, you'll know that's from her. So about 9 days to complete that.
And we'll move on to the April board retreat, and I'll turn that over to Dr. Rhodes as well.
So we had talked for probably the last 2 months about a spring retreat. The regular board meeting is on April 8th. And the committee of the whole for April is on the 25th. So I don't know if you want to coordinate calendars. You know, we've done it in the time I've been in the district. That's been like a 10 to 2 with a working lunch. But we've spent about 4 hours in retreat. So if that's a time that you'd be interested in, again, I don't know if you want to go in between those 2 meetings next month. Certainly I would open that up for discussion and folks to look at their calendars.
The 11th, I am not available the 12th.
Can you send out like a doodle poll again? I feel like that's worked well.
Okay.
with that.
Yeah, I can send out a doodle poll. Do you want it in between the 2 meetings for April then?
That worked well.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, I'll send out a doodle poll tomorrow morning and we can get that information back, and then I will send out a calendar invite for the board then. Perfect.
Now we'll move on to the Nebraska Frameworks Continuous Improvement Visit.
So another subject that we've talked about for the last 6 weeks or so is our external review. We had shared the agenda with the board at the February Committee of the Whole. That agenda is also attached to the Spark meetings for tonight as well. But I wanted to give maybe a little bit of context about that external visit. So it is a requirement of Rule 10 accreditation to have your external reviews. So school districts are always looking to set school improvement goals. And if you look at the process and system here in North Platte, every one of our school buildings have a continuous improvement team. And they meet periodically to go over data. You know, when you look at academic goals, in most cases, we're looking at areas of growth in math and language arts. And it's those teacher-led teams along with the building principal that goes through their data and looks at interventions and ways to improve that data. But specifically with Rule 10, that all comes to kind of a period of summarization at the end of a 5-year process. So according to 9.01B, the school improvement process includes visitation by a team of external representatives to review progress and provide written recommendations. And that's what will be happening on March 24th through the 26th. Up to the point where they will give an exit summary. And then some months later, they'll give the full report. So there are 10 individuals on this external team. They range from current practitioners across the state. They are educators in public schools across the state. And then there is always some folks from the Nebraska Department of Education as well. One of the things we do, you can use a national accreditation service. In this case, they've kind of changed the name over time. And we have chosen in our district to go with the Nebraska frameworks because we believe it more aligns with kind of the expectations and goals that we have. So again, we're coming to that end of that 5-year cycle. So upon that team coming in, they're going to provide suggestions for improvement for the future. And then when we get that report back, we'll be setting some goals around that external report. So just a little bit more in terms of what that visitation is all about.
Now we'll go to the monthly financial and budget report, and I'll turn the time over to Mr. Simpson.
Thank you. I'm gonna try, well, I'm gonna make sure.
Charles? Are you ready, Charles?
I knew that was coming. I'm trying to get my financial report up. Oh, there it is. Okay. I found it. I got it. We're good? Okay, there we go. So first of all, thank you for not putting me after students because it's like all of a sudden going from really positive to numbers. I don't know. But anyway, first of all, I did use Charles today, so it's just consistently. But I wanted you to notice, first of all, the new camera setup a little bit. If you haven't noticed the screens, I was noticing over the last couple of months how we weren't really getting the people coming up to present. It was always on the side. And so we're trying a new layout here where we can get the presenters here, number one, on camera, number two, so you can see them a little bit better, because looking from the side, you're getting a side view. This way we can see, number one, like today, with our students presenting, all of our students on camera, and we can see what was going on. So thank you very much to Tech and what was going on there before I get into the financials. First of all, obviously, as we look, and it really is a segue with what Dr. Rhodes was talking about as we go through our review and our strategic planning process, I follow the strategy 3, which deals with revenue and expense, and then other various items within strategy 3, so that I can make sure that I am communicating back to the board of what they need. Second of all, if we look at pages 2 and 3, you're going to see the enrollment from our official enrollment to the end of February's enrollment. And I always take a look at that one. For example, with page 4, you'll be able to see over the last 5 years, the change in our high school enrollment because of early graduates. I know we always get that question. Corey and I get the question every year in regards to how many early graduates we have and when that will take effect. And so you can sort of see what's happening at the high school and our early graduates. But then on a positive side, when we look at our K-5, and I'm not saying early graduates aren't positive. They're getting done with their high school experience and moving on to whatever their chosen field is going to be. So it is a change, but obviously I'm more focused on enrollment and where that's going to be for state aid. When we look at page 5 and the change of K-5 enrollment, as I've mentioned over the course of the last year, we can see now the positive swing forward at the K-5 level, so that we're rolling back students in at the K-5 and knowing that this is going to slowly but surely take effect and move forward into our high school also. So we're watching that very carefully, making sure that as we see our student growth going, where it's coming from and what's going to happen over the course of the next 5 or 10 years. So the next page, 6, just really gives you a really quick snapshot where we are with the budget, the different funds that we operate, and where we're standing. We should be at 50% of the expenditure budget. If it's less, it's always a positive, and we're trying to at least evaluate as we go forward where we should be going into the remaining 3 months of the school year, as well as then in the summer with curriculum adoption and what we need to do there. This is my one of my two favorite spreadsheets is the balance sheet. I love it. It's on page 8. But I want to address, in December, the board passed a resolution to set up a line of credit. And I was very much concerned as we went into this, and I'll mention it a little bit more as we go into the net asset area. But if I do have to take into account a line of credit, you're going to see a line on the balance sheet that will represent how much money I am using in the line of credit. Now, when we went into that situation, we can talk about how much payroll goes out on a monthly basis and how much we're expending in transactions as well as our P card. But because of the inconsistencies on how expenditures come in throughout the month, and then a lot of unanticipated revenue that has come in over the course of the last 2 months, we haven't needed to access that line of credit. Now, if we look at the net asset section, which is the next page, really addresses that we consolidate our cash into sort of one bank account. And then from there, we see how much assets we have to handle going forward. Now, when you look at it, over the last 4 years, we've had about $3.5 million in net asset cash. This year, we're sitting at 652,000. Now, that's because of where we knew we were at the end of last fiscal year. But hopefully, number one, with the 5% increase in valuations and the 10%, and I want to talk about that in a little bit. But for the most part, you can see that we're going to have about $3 million worth of payroll going out here on February 20th. And then roughly 750 to 900,000 in other expenditures. But those dollar amounts will not come out immediately except for payroll. So once again, I'm watching the cash on hand. We're currently sitting at 2.4 million because we got 1.7 in from property taxes. And then I have been waiting. We were still waiting for ESSA to get approved, which is a grant. But I'm anticipating money coming back in for ESSERs through the end of January. So hopefully I have cash flowing in that'll at least help us through this portion or this month. But I'm watching it constantly. So I do want to let you know that, I'm watching it, where we are, where we're going to be, and what's going to go on with the transactions. And I'm very much concerned. But noting that, I want to mention, as we go into the next one, we talk about property taxes. And a year ago, when we adopted the budget, we saw a 5% increase in valuations. Well, that doesn't take effect until January 1 of 2023. And the 10% increase does not take effect until January 1 of 2024. So all of a sudden, we can say we had increase in valuation, which is great, and it helps the school district. But in the process, those valuations and that dollar amount does not kick in until that January of that next fiscal year. So all of a sudden we're about 4 months behind as far as where that revenue is supposed to be. And so we're going to be watching that constantly. Yes, we're going to see little bits increases, and we'll see bigger chunks coming in May and June, but overall it'll still take a few more months to get all of the property taxes that we requested from this budget to come in, because it goes over the course of the 12 months in 2024. Along with that, we'll go into the cash flow really quickly. We're on target where we've always been. We're coming into our lean months, February, March, and April. That's a requirement on all school districts. And then we start getting the influx of property taxes coming in. And then finally, I put in, we're through the winter season of all of our activities. We have a few remaining events. I know state speech is coming up, but for most part, we're concluded. We're starting our spring sports. Not a lot has been going on at this point in time because we're gearing up, excuse me, for all of our activities. So I've broken the activity budget down into 8 areas so you can see what we control. Number one, obviously, athletics or activities, because we do have speech in there. Then the activity administration, all the fundraisers within the high school, all of our middle school activities, our high school activities, which could include cheerleading, pacers, all the class fees that go into there for freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. And then the fee programs such as welding, art, and so forth. And then obviously our elementary, middle school, other accounts, and some district accounts that we have. So I've attached a breakdown of what you see every month, but that just gives you a summary of where we're going as far as each individual area. We're monitoring it. I want to make a note that we do have money set aside in the general fund to cover the $120,000 difference in activities, but we had talked about that last year at the finance committee because we're not seeing people come out. They can watch it on YouTube to our activities. Number one, that cuts down on gate receipts, as well as we're not seeing people come out as much anymore either. So, we know certain things, but we're still providing opportunities for our students in the school district. Other than that, do you have any questions?
So do we have like a date in mind when you think you might need to access that line of credit? I mean, I assume there's kind of a drop dead date of we need to make sure we've got funds to especially payroll.
The drop dead date always is when I start reviewing payroll, which will be on, I'm just bringing up my calendar. I will sit down with payroll staff on the 14th or the 15th. We'll go through how much payroll is, where we stand financially in the bank account. I know how much we just approved for checks and P card transactions, but I'm noticing, and it's kind of odd, but we'll mail out our P card bill and it won't be cashed until the end of the month, which is right around when we get state aid. So I'm really watching how a lot of this transaction flows in, and on a daily basis, I'm watching the cash. So I can't give you a drop dead date, except for knowing that, on the 20th of February, that if all of a sudden, we'll just say I have $1 million in the bank account and I have payroll of 3 million, obviously then that triggers me to do something with the line of credit. But until that point, as I said, we have 2.4 million in the bank account. I'll be watching it now as we get up to the payroll time. Cindy knows how much I watch that one. I know. So I did forget one thing and I want to let you know. So on the enrollment, we watched that, and I watch it from a 30,000 foot level in comparison to what Kevin does in regards to, individual classrooms for students, or, how Corey looks at it from his high school perspective. I look at it as 30,000 because we went through state aid at the committee of the whole for the 24-25 school year. And so it's very much a concern of where we'll stand on enrollment at the end of this year and next year on what will play a factor in for 24, 25 respin, and then 25, 26. So always watching ahead 2 years. So.
Any other questions? Okay, we'll move on to the legislative update. I'm not sure who's taking the
I'll
lead.
go, and then Skip and Dr. Rhodes can chime in. I'll just hit a couple of things. Number one, legislature was off today. Tomorrow we're going to start our 41st day, or 19 days left. There's a list of bills that'll be advanced to the floor. But my concern, and I know Joanne was on the call last week with Senator Jacobson, but the big one that we're watching is when the revenue comes out in regards to the 1% sales tax and how that's going to reduce property taxes and how that's going to play effect on school districts. We don't know where it is, and we're waiting for that to come out. But Dr. Rhodes and I got a update. Well, all the administration got an update from Mike Delaney on NCSA, and some bills that will be advanced to the floor. We'll wait and see over the course of the next 3 or 4 days. I think the big ones will be LB 71, LB 1306, which is a Christmas tree bill, and LB 1402, which deals with scholarships. Those are our big ones that I have.
Tomorrow, I have a Zoom, the legislative committee has a Zoom meeting. We haven't had one. We didn't have one today. Education hearings ended last week. So there are no hearings, but what this is the Zoom we're going to have is Senator Bossert, who is on the Revenue Committee, is going to be talking to not only the Legislative Committee of NASB, but also their executive board. And I sent both to Stuart and Dr. Rhodes a link to that, is said to share it with your superintendents. So we should get a pretty good idea from Senator Bossert tomorrow about what Stuart was talking about, what he feels will come out of there. And the other bills, I'm afraid might happen as happened last year where they did the Christmas tree and they just hung everything on and then voted through it. However, they don't have a lot of time to do that. So we'll see how that comes out, but I'll know a lot. We'll know a lot more about what's coming out of the Revenue Committee after that Zoom meeting tomorrow.
All right, now we will move on to review policy 6038 on artificial intelligence, and I'll turn it over to Dr. Rhodes.
So we have talked about a draft artificial intelligence policy for several months. 6038 is a policy that was put together by KSB as a recommended policy last July. And at that point, we had decided to continue to kind of look at this big idea of artificial intelligence and vet this with a few different groups. So we did visit with our advisory council last week again about this. And then Mrs. Douglas and Mrs. Carlson had a conversation at their teaching and learning advisory meeting that is composed of teachers from across the district as well. And I do feel like eventually there may be some tweaking that'll be necessary with a policy like this, just because it's kind of a first blush at a policy. I believe one of the things that came from teachers is, and I think this was primarily some of our elementary educators, was you're probably going to have to give us some training on what this AI is and how we can instruct kids on how to use it appropriately. We know that happens at the secondary level quite a bit, particularly at the high school level. But I think this policy does give fairly good guidance overall to teachers and the building principals on how to utilize AI tools, and certainly goes through a process for our educators to use if they want to use AI and to give advance notice that to classes and those different types of things. So this is just a review of this policy. We talked about this at committee of the whole. The plan would be to bring this back in April for approval for board policy now.
I think we had a really good discussion about this at the committee of the whole. And I like it. I stated that at the time. This is just something that is part of our world now. And we have to have something to control, plus allowing it to be used. I think that's the nice thing here, is that we can't ignore it. because it's there and students want to and will use it. But the control part of it is what we really need, which is why the policy I think is good. And I looked at it a couple more times after our many of a whole meeting, and I think it's very good. And I think everybody will be happy with it.
All right, we will move on to public comment. Public questions and comments may take place at this time in the agenda. Individuals who want to address the board must complete a guidelines for public comments form with the date, topic addressing, name, address, and the name of any organization you represent, and give it to the board clerk prior to the meeting. Do we have it?
I have none.
All right. So we will move on to our action items. And the first action item is to approve changes to policies 6025, which is the cell phone and other electronic devices, and 6027, which deals with field trips. Dr. Rose.
So again, we had discussed these two policies at the committee of the whole. 6025, the cell phone and personal device, electronic device policy had just really minor changes to it. I do want to bring to your attention, when we had talked about policy 6027, we had talked about the potential for a parent opt out of any particular field trip. So we did put that in to the policy that's attached to Spark meetings tonight. But remember that the change with that was a procedural change that we actually at the beginning of the year, using the tool of the handbook, have a parent fill out the form for field trips, and we have that one form on file. Then we don't have a separate one for each field trip. But we did put in that parents may request that their child not attend any field trip by contacting the building principal. So we did embed that into the policy 6027.
I would entertain a motion.
Through changes to policies 6025 and 6027 as presented.
Second.
Is there any discussion on the motion?
Again, we discussed these, and I thought Emily had a good point in why we added the opting out. I thought that was good. But instead of having to bring like 10 of them home through the course of a year and sign it, I think the one blanket policy will handle that. And the cell phone, why they are a problem at times. Again, they're a necessity again for a lot of people. So I think the policies are very good.
And I think it's worth mentioning, when we discussed that student cell phone policy, that we got quite a bit of input from administrators and in our district. And so I think, when it comes to things like that, where we're not in the classroom, even though some of us have been in the past, we have to kind of lean on what they're telling us they need and what's working and what's not working in that capacity. So I appreciate hearing from them on that as well.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's the important aspect of this, is that it's the board setting the policy. It's coming from our people who have the boots on the ground every day. And I also think that's probably one that we're going to have to continue to monitor all the time, because just like AI, I think it's going to continue to evolve. And as we've discussed, there's some benefits to having cell phones in the classroom at times. Teachers can incorporate that into their education. And so I think that's something that we'll just continue to keep an eye on as a board.
Okay, roll call, Sheila.
Skip Altick.
Aye.
Angela Blazy.
Aye.
Matthew Peterson.
Aye.
Emily Garrett.
Aye.
Joanne Green.
Aye.
Cindy O'Connor.
Aye.
And that passes. So now we will move on to the request for approval of the administrative contracts for the 24-25 school year. And I will turn that over to Dr. Rhodes.
So item 11.2, this is something that I think Mr. Simpson and I talked a lot about last spring, and as we kind of got through summer a little bit in terms of the timing of approval of administrative contracts. So if you think back to a year, if you remember, we got a little bit behind. We did the evaluation at the appropriate time for the superintendent, but we didn't do contract and salary until several months later. And in fact, it was in April of last year when we finally set that. So all of a sudden we were pushed to May and June to get contracts and salary set for the rest of our administrators. So I think we owe it to our administrators that they have an approved contract. This is time where obviously they're making decisions for themselves and their families. So I think it's important that they know that they have a contract for next year. As you know, we've talked about this before. One of the things that we've done the last 18 months is we have quarterly accountability meetings at the building level. And so we don't just wait till the end of the academic year to have those accountability meetings or presentations with our building folks. I just think it's important that we're doing that at least quarterly. And so we are just starting third quarter accountability meetings. Those start tomorrow and they're carried through 2 weeks. So what we are asking of the board tonight and what I'm recommending is just a package increase for our district and building administrators. Now the document that's attached for your eyes, understand that excludes the superintendent, a resignation from an administrator, and a new hire that we've made. So we took those 3 out because they weren't comparable to the rest of the administrators. And so we've set a recommendation at 2.78%. You can see from the document that was attached that potentially a 2.73% increase would be an increase of $98,252. That includes salary increases, that includes health insurance increases, it includes FICA, and it includes the district's obligation for retirement as well. And those are spelled out on there as well. But when we look at the increase on salary at a 2.8% of that total, that is commensurate to where our teachers negotiated, and it's commensurate for the superintendent as well. So the 2.78 gives us a little bit of wiggle room. We had a great question at the executive team meeting in terms of individual salaries as it relates to presenting those to the Board of Education. And that borderlines on the supervision and evaluation of our administrators. And so, you would be able to see from 23-24 a salary and then a recommended salary from 24 to 25. And you'd be able to, your evaluative mind would be able to say, well, why is this person getting what this person isn't? And so that's something that we're not going to go down the road. I can't recommend that, but we can recommend a total package increase. And that is very commensurate to what we did last June with administrative contracts. Questions or comments that you may have for me?
Well, and kind of along those same lines, what you were just discussing, can you remind us what the process looks like for how because this is different than our teachers where it's a standard across the board percentage. Can you kind of explain?
Yeah, so Mr. Simpson put together many years ago, similar to what would be a salary schedule for teachers. So there is a percentage based on the years of being an administrator. There's one on the education. So, principals need an administrative master's degree to be a principal. Some of our principals have educational specialists, and that is built in as a little bit of bump up in salary as well. And then of course the years of experience. And then what I do is I use those accountability meetings to kind of that final straw in terms of kind of where people fall within the proposed salary that we'll provide for them for next school year. But longevity is, that's a big deal. you know, if you look across the board, and we do have an elementary principal opening. You know, there's openings across the state, and administrators are becoming as hard to find as what teachers are right now. And so there's a shortage of those folks as well. You know, we're trying to work with some different groups and kind of growing our own. We talked about our Dean of Students program and how that could be a mechanism for maybe growing our own administrators. We'd like to see that happen. School districts, particularly anybody that is west of the Grand Island area, are not getting a lot of external applicants for administrative positions right now. So there certainly is a shortage of administrators right now as well.
And Dr. Rhodes, I think, just to clarify, when we talked about this in our executive session, we kind of talked about those salaries, and not that the board can't or will not know those numbers at a different point in time. It's just not to do so in the comparison of last year to this year.
Yep.
In an evaluated way, correct?
Absolutely. We're a public entity, and anybody could request the salaries for any one of our employees. Yep. Good point.
I'll entertain a motion.
I would move to approve the administrative salary proposal for the administrative contracts for 2024-2025 school year as presented.
Second. Okay, who won?
Skip that.
Okay.
Wow.
You're louder, that's why you got it, okay.
Is there any further discussion on the motion?
I think it fits in, like Dr. Rhodes talked about, with what we negotiated for the teachers and also with him. I think it's right in line with that. So I think it fits very well.
Okay, roll call.
Angela Blazy. Aye. Matthew Peterson.
Aye.
Emily Garrick.
Aye.
Joanne Lynn Green.
Aye.
Cindy O'Connor. Aye. Skip Alter.
Aye.
Okay, now we are on to future board calendar. So tomorrow we have Matt and Dr. Rhodes that will be on the radio. And then we have the budget and finance workshop on March 19th. And as far as I know, right now, 3 of us are signed up to attend that. And then, as you can see, we've got school leaders in law coming up in June. The board candidate workshop, which is available for anyone who is running for a school board position or considering at some point running for a school board position. So, and those are some, something that if people want more information, they can contact the district office, or you can go to the Nebraska School Board Association website and there's information there. I also wanted to mention that I did get a quote back from Sherry Becker, and we talked about it in our executive meeting. The proposal is that it's $1,000, and that includes training for the full board. And then there would be a session for me as the board president as well with Sherry. That would be shorter. So I think in the interest of trying to keep things rolling with that, if everyone's okay with that, then she's looking at either doing something before the committee of the whole in either April or May, because we're going to do our board retreat in April. I might see if we can push that off to May if everybody's okay with that, just so that we don't have so many meetings in April. So is that reasonable? Okay. So we'll move forward with that. And I also wanted to just put out there, I don't have anybody in the musical this year, but the musical is this week. So Thursday through Sunday at the high school, and you can get your tickets online. So with that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Roll call.
Matthew Peterson.
Aye.
Emily Garrick.
Aye.
Joanne Lynn Green.
Aye.